Hello, it's Aries season. I'm so excited. I am an Aries. It is my season. Woo. So I am doing a tarot reading for what you need to know this Aries season. I have your piles down on the table. Before we get to that, just a couple of announcements. First things first, I have been absolutely loving meeting all of you guys. Thank you so much for booking readings, astrology, tarot, numerology, Reiki. It's been really, really amazing to meet you guys and to work with you guys and to help you on your journey on whatever it is that you guys are working on. So thank you so much. Continue doing that. I cannot wait to meet more of you. Also, a really fun announcement. It is official. I am now a co-host of the Stars Made Me Do It podcast. Here it is right here. This has been a long time in the making, and I'm really excited that it is now happening. I love this podcast. We talk everything astrology. We have many different kinds of episodes. We do analyses. We go through every zodiac sign and planets in those zodiac signs, and we interview people with those placements. And we also just teach all of these different techniques while just having a good time. So if you're interested, you can go check that out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything that, plays your podcasts. And you can also follow us on @The_Stars Made Me podcast. So really, really exciting. I hope you meet us there. And yeah, thanks. So let's get to your reading. Really short intro. Let's just get right to it. All right. So pile 1, you have got completion. Pile 2, perfection. Pile 3, forgiveness. All right, pile 1, I have your completion card right here. Before we get to your reading, just a reminder that if you want to enter the giveaway and win a free reading, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel, go follow me on Instagram, and then just comment below. Let me know you did those things. If you've already done that, I have you entered, so don't you worry. So let's get on to the reading. For Aries season, I really want to look at what is being illuminated for you, where your energy is being put, how best to take action, because that's very Arian, to get moving, and also maybe where we need to release some ego. Aries, on a more unevolved level, can be very egocentric, very self-absorbed. So I want to see where we need to release ego there. So let's start with what is being illuminated for you this Aries season. Okay, we've got the Page of Wands to start and the Four of Swords. What's being illuminated for you is new projects. I think you've been in a state of rest, in a state of maybe even stagnancy a little bit, but for you, it's been restful. Although for you also, you may have been feeling a little impatient about it. So we're really illuminating that their time of rest has come to an end, right? This completion phase. And now it's on to new projects. And I say new projects because the page always represents, less experience or the child. So there's always something more to learn. So what's being illuminated for you? Let's see where these projects really take place. What kind of projects are these? Personal, work, relationships? Ooh, personal. Definitely personal. And actually could also play into work. So maybe you have a very personal career, or maybe you identify very strongly with your job. But we've got the Emperor here, which actually is ruled by the sign Aries. And this Emperor is very specific and different in that he is he looks like a businessman. Very conventional too, though. So I almost feel like he's like in this dingy, dark situation with his work. But for you, it's being lit up. And so new projects, new ways of approaching this, right? Breaking conventions, breaking what has been always like what's been traditional, or maybe where that stagnancy is sitting, and bringing new life to it, right? The Page of Wands is all about bringing new life, bringing new inspiration. Think of it as like the very hopeful and inspired intern who's not even getting paid, but is just so happy to be there. So for you, that's what's being illuminated, is the ability to start on something new and not knowing where it's going to go, just being along for the ride. So let's see how best to take action. And I actually want to, these are calling me, this is the Prism Oracle, and I'm pretty obsessed with it. I think it's stunning. So how best to take action? Let's see. Intuition. Okay, using your intuition. So we do have a lot of activity going on in Pisces still, even with it being Aries season. So we've really been working and mastering our ability to be intuitive, our ability to bring empathy to the table. And I think deep down, this time of rest, almost like you like things have been coming to you in your dreams, or things have been coming to you subconsciously about what it is that you need to be doing. And so it's time to really follow those things, follow the dreams that you're having, follow whatever downloads you've been receiving, whatever your connection to the divine has been giving you. It's really a time of moving forward in an intuitive way, moving forward in a Pisces way, but during Aries season where you're really being enlightened and almost like you feel lighter. Like the moves you have to make feel lighter. They don't feel like there's so much at stake and it's really heavy. So how best to take action? Let's pull another card for that. Intuitively is definitely one of them. And the Queen of Wands, what aligns with your gut, with your passion. And the sacral chakra has really been speaking to me lately, just in the last couple of days. But that is like this fiery gut right under your belly button. That's like that orange spinning light that gives you your sense of creativity and your joy. So really, and it's also intuitive because it's your gut feeling, right? That's what we're always talking about, that gut feeling. So not only are you using this like crown ability to communicate with the divine, but you're also using this gut ability to communicate with your own divine self, your higher self. So this time of rest has been really helpful, especially during Pisces season, to slow down, to go within, to understand what it is that you want. And now to go forward as an excited, like intern style, breaking up the conventions of what it is you've always done, or breaking up conventions of how you've always identified, maybe with work, and to move forward with those subconscious messages that you've received. I do want to see what it is that you need to release when it comes to your ego. Because Aries can tend, and I'm an Aries, Aries can tend to be a little self-centered. And sometimes that comes off as self-aware, which is really beautiful. But at the same time, that can really come off as, putting yourself at the center of the universe and not really understanding that other people have feelings that are totally valid and justified. So let's see how to release the ego. We've got the Seven of Pentacles. Wow, that's really beautiful. That just because other people have opinions, have thoughts, have feelings, doesn't make yours any less valid. So you shouldn't walk around making other people feel invalid, or even just invalidating them in your own mind, just because you want to be seen and you want to be lit up. Everybody has space to be lit up on this planet. So instead of maybe bringing other people down in order to boost yourself up, boost others up, because then you'll find in order to, after boosting others up, they start to boost you up, right? And so really, instead of taking them down to boost you up, you boost them to boost yourself up too. And so if you need to look at it that way, you absolutely can. And I feel like this is a long-standing, we've got the Four of Swords again. I feel like this is a long-standing theme for you, that the idea of competition versus collaboration, and seeing them as colleagues rather than as like competition, especially with this Emperor who seems to be it's lonely at the top for this Emperor specifically. And so you're coming to this stage of completion, right? You've got this guy right here. You're coming to this stage of completion where everybody can be valuable and you don't have to be the one to bring everything to the table. Allowing other people to bring things to the table, that's being of service to them, right? Letting them show their value, but it's also being of service to you, not having to carry the weight of everything. That Four of Swords showing up again. It's like calming the ego, calming the mind. And just because you don't say everything you're thinking doesn't mean you're not speaking your truth. It just means that you're allowing space for other perspectives to sort of reach you. Because if you are constantly only speaking from your perspective, you're not slowing down enough to listen to other people's perspectives. And I think it's really important for you, for your personal growth, the Seven of Pentacles, very personal growth, to listen to what others have to say. So let's see if there are any other messages from your guides. Wow, I love this Eight of Cups. You know what? That's it. I love this Eight of Cups. It's one of my favorite Eight of Cups, and I don't get it nearly often enough. In fact, it's been so long that I actually forgot about it. Look at that Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is normally about a release, a cathartic release of emotions that have been holding you back. Especially this one. She's cutting off the weight of her long hair, even though long hair signifies that you are wise and that you are spiritual and that you are divine. She can be divine without the hair, right? So release whatever emotional, you know, I want to say traumas, but it doesn't even have to be trauma. Release whatever emotional patterns are holding you back, and ask yourself why you've been holding on to them for so long. What about those patterns makes you feel justified, or, you know, more valid? You are not your trauma. You are not your cyclical emotional nature. You are you, and you have these cycles. You have these emotional cycles, and that's human. That's fine. But there's something about releasing those habitual cycles, and not just about the release, but about why you were holding on to it in the first place. So that is what your Aries season is going to be all about. It's really interesting. There's sort of this dichotomy of rest and relaxation so that you can really move forward in an intuitive way. A lot of release, a lot of personal value stuff. Really, really beautiful. I'm going to pick one last card. I feel like I say that multiple times. This little flower petals deck, I just love it, and I wanted some sweetness in here. Let's see. Sunflower, practice courage each day. Beautiful. All right, pile one, I hope that was helpful. I'm sending you a lot of love, and I will see you next time. Bye. All right, so pile two, I have got your perfection card right here. Very beautiful. And just before I get to that, just a reminder that if you want to enter the giveaway to win a free reading, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel, go follow me on Instagram, and then comment below to let me know that you did that, and I will put you on my list to possibly win. So I'm announcing those winners once I hit 1,000 subscribers. All right, so moving on to your reading, we've got perfection. I'm really interested to see how this card shows up in the rest of this. We are going to be kind of investigating what is really being illuminated for you, because Aries is really all about what is lighting you up. It's the first sign of the zodiac, so it really is about how you feel a sudden drive of passion, how you're able to move forward, take action, and, you know, really embody yourself while doing that. So we're going to look at what is being illuminated for you specifically. We're going to be looking at, let's see, how best to take action during that time. And then I also want to look at how or where you need to release some ego, because we all have ego. We're human. That's what happens. And so Aries does rule being a little more egocentric, being a little more self-absorbed, being very focused on the self. And I, as an Aries, know that that's always something that's a part of my plan of, like, how do I remember to take care of myself, or how do I know to make sure not to only pay attention to my own perspective, which let me know if any other Aries out there can relate to that. So let's start with what is really being illuminated for you this Aries season. Here we go. Oh, just the world. Amazing. So the world is being illuminated for you. And I want to clarify that just because that's a lot. The Four of Swords, how interesting. Because pile one also got the Four of Swords in what is being illuminated. So let's see, how is this different? For you, I feel like there's something about acceptance of how things are, acceptance of how your world has become what it is. I think almost like if you had looked at, I'm going to say 10 years, but honestly, I feel like for some, like 1 year ago or 2 years ago, if you had seen what your life has turned out to be at this point, a certain amount of time ago, you wouldn't even believe it. You wouldn't even think that to be true. And so I feel like what needs to be illuminated is the amount of experience that you have gained, and gaining comfort with that, and gaining acceptance of some of your experiences, or maybe that you are being given new experiences that you're not extremely comfortable with, but you just have to accept and throw your hat into the wind and let the wind take the hat. Yes, you care about the hat. Yes, you care, and you have an emotional and personal investment in how your life turns out. But to understand that there's something bigger that is helping you out here. And we've got this Four of Swords too. So there's definitely an indication that you are not the one who has to be taking all of the action, which is going to be interesting when we look at how best to take action for you. So you are not the one who needs to constantly be charging and doing something right away. I feel like you are in a state of almost observation during Aries season, because when you look at this world, she is not taking over the world. She is not encompassing the world within her. She is simply sitting in the world and allowing it to be, and allowing the nature to just flow with her, right? That wind just blowing her hat away. And then here as well, her hat being off, being to the side, you know, she's taking her hat off. She doesn't have to go do her witchcraft. She doesn't have to go do the magic and do the work. She's doing the work by allowing things to happen. So I think for you, and it's interesting too, because if there are any Aries watching this, or, you know, any other signs that do handle or do deal with like control and always needing to be the one who's responsible, or always having to be moving, there's a really big lesson in not moving. And it's kind of tough to have that lesson in Aries season, but it makes sense because we have so many other planets in Pisces, in Aquarius, in Capricorn. And Pisces is much more fluid, intuitive, it's calm, it's slow, and Aries is like dynamic and wants to go. So we are sort of learning the lesson of how to be slow and how that can be productive in that Aries way. I want to pull one of these flower petal cards just because I feel like it wants to be pulled now. So let's see what you got. Dahlia, you have what it takes. You do have what it takes to slow down, to rest, to accept, and to observe. That is what's really important for you. And I think that's going to be really important or difficult because you do have this perfection card. And so when we seek perfection, it's because there's a concern that we're not good enough, right? It's very Virgo, but this is Aries. And Aries and Virgo have absolutely nothing in common when you look at the technique, when you look at like their modality, their elements. They have nothing in common. They have what's called an inconjunct relationship with each other, that they are very separate and compartmentalized. They deal with very different themes. And so it's sort of hard for them to communicate with each other. So I know, like for myself, I'm an Aries, my partner has Virgo placements. I love the blend of an Aries Virgo relationship because it's like one person is pure chaos and energy and the other one's like, okay, let's find a system of order and really get this going. So I feel like there's some resistance to Aries season, or that you are really comfortable with Aries and want to get moving, but you're being told to slow down and find that order. All right, so that was just one question. Let's look at how best to take action, which is funny because I feel like your lesson is all about taking action. The Two of Wands and the 10 of Wands. Interesting. I kind of figured some wands would come up because wands are so fiery and want to move forward. So this Two of Wands and most Two of Wands are always about like observing and watching and seeing, like almost looking at your land from the cliff. Everything the light touches is yours comes to mind. And so there's a want to go explore, to go seek, to go adventure. But I think if you were to go follow those, it might be a little bit harder. It might be harder work than it would have been had you waited until maybe Taurus season. So yeah, I think there's a real strong need to take action and to go. And you certainly can. You certainly can make those moves, make those changes, get going. But know that there are more hurdles if you do it now than if you do it in say like a month's time. And honestly, if you do it now, you may not even finish until when you would have ended starting in the next month. So I think it really is about taking action in a much more observant way, in a much more plan-oriented way. So being able to make a list of the certain order of things that you need to do. And I actually didn't really know what area of life this is in. So let's pick a card on that. The area of life. The Two of Swords and the Moon. I mean, it seems like emotionally, right? The Moon and the Two of Swords. So like being blind to your own emotion, not allowing yourself to look inwards. She's almost like, just take the blindfolds off. Like I want to be distracted by external circumstances. And the Moon is fully submerged there. So there's something about not wanting to look within, not wanting to rest, that we use action to distract us from how we're really feeling. And so Aries season, which is not typically a very emotional time, right? That's Pisces season. We've been in Pisces season. That Pisces is sort of carrying through, and almost like what you didn't get done, what emotional work you didn't get done in Pisces is being carried through in this Aries season. So where do you need to release the ego? Five of Cups. Let's see. Ooh, the Devil. How interesting. This is a really interesting spread here. So where do you need to release the ego? I mean, this definitely points to that whole emotional venture that I was talking about. But this Devil, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little stumped for a second here. Five of Cups. Yeah, just running away. I think the ego is that you don't have anything to work through, maybe. And you know, when I say words like shame or blame or guilt or projection, you're like, oh, those don't apply to me. They apply to everybody. We're all human, right? Devil rules human nature. And so we all experience those human emotions, those human experiences. And to say that you don't is sort of just a denial. And that's that Two of Swords here too. Now is not the time to be in denial anymore. You are being asked to rest and to look within. And actually this Aries season is all about self-work, self-awareness, self-acceptance. So use this Aries season, which is all about the self, to focus on you, to allow yourself to look in the mirror and say, okay, what work do I need to do? And also on the other side to say, what work have I done and that I can be proud of? Some people really struggle to say, oh, wow, I'm really proud of myself for that. Be proud of yourself for what you've done. And just because you're proud doesn't mean you have nothing left to do. And just because you have so much work to do doesn't mean you can't be proud of yourself. So let's pick a card from this Prism Oracle. I love this deck. Ooh, this guy. Flow. Wow, yeah. It seems like you are sort of like not stuck. I don't want to say stuck, but like Pisces season continues on with you. So, you know, that makes me wonder where Pisces is in your chart. Let the things flow. And that just all comes back to this World card of letting the wind blow your hat away. You don't always have to be on. You don't always have to be wearing the hat and doing the work in a way that everybody sees. Okay. It's much more internal. It's much more generative. So let yourself receive the work that needs to be done. You have what it takes. So sending you a lot of love. I hope that was helpful. I hope you have a wonderful Aries season, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. All right, pile 3. I have got your forgiveness card here. Before we get to pulling cards for you about this Aries season, just a reminder that if you want to enter the giveaway and possibly win a free reading, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel, go follow me on Instagram, and comment below to let me know that you did those things, and I will add you to the list, and I will be announcing those winners when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So let's get on to your reading. I'm looking at Aries season, so I really want to focus on what is being illuminated for you. To me, that is such an Aries way of thinking of things. The sun is all about illumination, and Aries is all about the beginnings, about inspiration, about movement. And it's also about the self. So how can we focus on the self work that needs to be done? Or how can we really move forward? How can we be filled with energy, and where's that energy going to be coming from? So I'll be looking at what is being illuminated for you. And then I also want to look at how best to take action, what the best way to take action is for you, because Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. Mars is all about how we take action, not just how we confront or how we argue or how we have sex. It's really about how it is that we do everything that we do, what drives us to make moves, not just make choices, but to make those moves and actually doing those things. So we're going to be looking at the best way for you to take action this Aries season. And then lastly, I want to look at what sort of ego release do we need to do. Aries can tend to be quite egocentric, sort of self-centered, and that can show up as being self-aware, or it can show up as being self-absorbed. And so I just want to look at where our ego needs a little bit of a check, a little bit of humility added into the mix. So let's get into it. I'm interested because you chose the forgiveness card. So let's look at what is being illuminated for you this Aries season. Oh, well, this guy really wants to come out. Interesting. Ooh. All right. You have got the Magician and the Knight of Pentacles. How interesting. I almost feel like there's something about leaving work, maybe for some of you, that you are walking away from what is stable or secure in order to follow this passion project, or to do something that you feel you are equipped to do, that you are uniquely powerful at. You know, maybe leaving a sort of, here's an analogy of leaving your corporate job so that you can go start your candle making business. I wonder who would do that. Anyway, so that Knight of Pentacles is really being illuminated, but the Magician is what was first. So being able to see your magic, to be able to, I love this a lot. I'm trying to like read the energy that's coming through, but it feels like you are finally seeing what it is you can do. You're finally finding your power. And so in order to really lean into that power, what's being illuminated for you is the need to step away from something else, to step away from what has been, you know, kind of like foundational for you. It was really good to set that foundation, but now you're on like a 30-story building. So you need to explore some of that building and see what other layers you need to be tapping into for yourself, your sort of power. I want to look at the Prism Oracle, see what else is being illuminated here. Kind of what is the theme of all of this? Let's see what you got. Peace. Wow, interesting. So whatever it is that you're stepping away from, it's not out of anger or out of any sort of intensity, but it's out of a seeking of peace. It's out of a seeking of the future rather than a like F you to the past. Really, really interesting. And it's also really beautiful, this magician. He does seem very much at peace. And like this little inner world that he is working on while he's sitting in nature, being really connected to nature is what's bringing him to his power. So I think getting out in nature is going to be really helpful for you. I think the fact that it's spring, right? Aries is the first sign of springtime. We're starting to see life come back into the world. We're hearing birds chirp. We're seeing squirrels, deer, everything just like running around. It's like freaking Snow White up in here. So finding that peace, finding that connection with nature, that groundedness, but not allowing that groundedness to be not allowing stagnancy to be mistaken for groundedness. I hope that makes sense. So moving on, how best do you take action, or how best for you to take action this Aries season? There we go. Oh, Queen of Wands, love it. Gosh, so many. All right, so initially you got the Queen of Wands of how best to take action. This is really a time for you to follow what you want and to gain confidence. I almost feel like this forgiveness could be even forgiveness of self for having diminished your light for so long. You are what is being illuminated here. You are the magician. You are powerful. It's time to step away from those that hold you back. And it could be people, it could be jobs, it could even be yourself. Forgive yourself for speaking to you the way that you have. Now is the time to gain that Aries confidence, that excitement of self, right? You look in the mirror and you go, like, yes, you are you and I am me, and that is great, and I'm excited about that. So how best to take action, the Queen of Wands, to follow what is in that fiery gut of yours, to make sure that you are always on the lookout for what feels right to you, as well as scanning for maybe those things that have been holding you back. You got the Two of Swords. I think there are some things that you don't realize have been holding you back, or maybe that you thought were holding you back were actually pushing you to grow. And so to find gratitude for that, there's a lot of movement towards a future, towards, right? He's not just stepping away from something, he's moving towards something as well. So don't think of it as an ending, think of it as a beginning. And you've got this Three of Swords, and I love this Three of Swords. What you are stepping away from is not, you know, it's always going to be there. That is always going to be a part of your life that you can be grateful for and that you loved. Just because you're walking away from it doesn't mean that it has to be, you know, a bad experience all of a sudden. It's almost like, you know, when people break up and then suddenly that ex is the worst person that ever happened to you, that worst thing that ever happened to you. You enjoyed that time with your ex. Don't lie about that. You enjoyed it. That was a good time in your life at some point. And now there's a split, there's a parting of ways, and you can still be grateful for the goodness that came out of it and not tarnish it with kind of how it ended. And that's an analogy. It doesn't have to be about relationships, but almost like if you're leaving a job, you enjoyed that job for some time. It's okay to say, hey, I liked that job at the time. Now it's not right for me, so I'm moving on. You are moving towards something future, something better in the future. So it's not about looking back. It's not about seeing what could have been done, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's really about moving forward and etching your tree with your legacy, right? So let's see where the ego can be shed, where we need to release a little bit of our ego. Okay, Wild. Every single pile got the Four of Swords. And you've got the Hanged one as well. So where your ego can be released, that's so interesting, because I'm hearing that usually, you know, these cards are all about rest and calming, and it's not a time to do anything. But for you, that's where it needs to be released, is releasing the idea that you don't need to do anything. And still, like, it's great to understand that you don't have control over everything. You can't, you can't have power over everything. But now is not the time, and it's a time to release the idea that things will just be done for you, or that things will just get done in the future at some point, that sort of elusive thinking. It is not, it is time to release that, because I think within the ego, maybe that could point towards you being like, I'm so lucky, I deserve things that are going to happen for me anyway. I don't know. There's something a little unclear, and I think it's unclear because it feels a little insulting. So I'm trying not to be insulting, but there's something that needs to be humbled in that, no, your manifestations aren't just going to come to you because you asked for them. You need to put a little work in. You need to do a little something to get those going. And I think what that something is to be really clear about what it is you want. So you have to be honest to yourself, but also to, you know, the world, to your spirit guides, to your higher self, about what it is that you want, what path you want to go down, so that they can give you exactly that. So your manifestation routine or ritual or whatever it is needs to be a little bit more specific during this Aries season. So I'm going to pick a Flower Petals card. I love these little guys, and they're gentle. So let's just see what it is they have to say. There it is. Hydrangea, focus on wholeness above and below. And that's beautiful. He's focusing on the above up here and on the below. So beautiful. All right. I hope that was helpful. I'm sending you a lot of love. Happy Aries season. I will see you guys next time. Bye.